What is up? Welcome back to the channel. So, I talked with some people the past couple days about raising chickens, and I also talked on the phone with T Black for about 20 minutes about raising chickens. So, I'm going to give you guys a few of my opinions and go over that. So, the first thing is what breed to use, have. Really, any breed that you get at Tractor Supply would technically be good for raising for eggs. And the most common ones are probably Rhode Island Reds, New Hampshire Reds, Black Antelopes, Americanas, things like that. The Americanas, they produce the green egg, and Rhode Island Reds are probably the best chicken for laying. They produce the most eggs per year. The biggest thing is when you go to these places, any place to buy chickens, make sure it's hens, make sure it's pullets, that's baby hens. Make sure it's not straight run, because if it's straight run, what that means is it could be 50-50 roosters, it could be 80% roosters, and if you don't want roosters, don't get straight run. If you want roosters and you want a mixture, then by all means get straight run. But usually most people prefer just normal pullets. Um, if you get baby chickens, you can put a light on them. You don't have to, depending on where you're at. Here in South Carolina, the weather the other day was like 89 degrees and pretty fucking humid. There'd be no point to put a light on them, really and truly at all. But if you chose to, you could at night. Just make sure it's not too close to them. But really, at 89 degrees, there's no point. If it's like 30 degrees, yeah, you might need to put a light on them the first couple of days. But after they start becoming a normal chicken, and after a few days you will start seeing their feathers come in, they will be fine. Now, if it's in the negatives, yeah, you probably need to put a light on everything. So that's just how I do it. The last couple of chickens I ever bought, I never put a light on them. There was no point to. The last ones I gave to a hen. She adopted them. And the ones before that, we never put a light on them because it was springtime and it got humid and they was fine. So, anyway, what type of food do you use? I'm going to put pictures of that at the end of this, and you can just read what I wrote. But the biggest thing is the baby food, or the baby chicken food. You don't really have to get that. You can if you want to. If the chickens are 3 to 4 days old and they've been at Tractor Supply for a couple of days eating normal food, they eating the food there, they are fine. You don't need to go and buy a special brand and spend money. You can just buy the food I'm going to suggest at the end, but you do what you want to do. The biggest thing, if there's any reason why the chickens are not eating or you don't think they're eating enough, take some of the food and wet it, make a mash out of it, and just pour it in the thing and let them eat that. That will put food in them and also get them hydrated, and that will help a lot. In actuality, if you have bigger chickens, you should make a mash at least once a week. I do it a few times a week. I mix anything that I have, old dog food, seeds, whatever. I had a good bit of old sunflower seeds, and mixed all that in and feed it to the chickens, and they love it. And it's like a little cake to them every couple of days. So it's awesome. And you can mix really anything in there. I think I posted a video on the other channel, maybe this channel. I think it was the other channel though, where I went dumpster diving and I had all that cake mix and stuff, and all that waffle and pancake mix. I took that and mixed it in and made like a batter with that and gave it to the chickens. They loved it. They basically eat anything. Space food or space and room, how much space they need. I really don't know. I'm going to put some screenshots at the end what Google says. My thing is, where I have my chickens at, the fence is about 300 feet of wire, just a little bit more than 300 feet of wire, wrapped around almost in a circle. I have 19 chickens. I would say I would put 100, 120 chickens in there without even thinking about adding more room. Now, my door is always open, and I let them go in and out as please. So they roam a few acres of land, and they kind of just do what they want. So they eat a lot. They have a lot of nutrients out there. The grasshoppers, when we mow the lawn at my grandparents' house, is crazy, and the chickens go crazy, and they fill up on grasshoppers. And if you ever mess with chickens, especially free range chickens, you put your hand on their neck where their gizzards is. If you give them worms or grasshoppers, you can still feel them moving in there. It's really crazy. It's cool. It's funny, crazy at the same time. Egg production, the Rhode Island Reds produce the best eggs, or produce the most eggs, best eggs. T Black had a question: was, is there a difference between eggs from different people raising eggs or store bought eggs? Well, the store bought eggs, of course, steroids, antibiotics, crazy shit like that, and the chickens are not healthy. I don't know every single detail about egg production, but I do know if you crack a Walmart Great Value egg compared to one of my eggs, the difference, just the color is completely different, and probably even the taste. We honestly, in my whole life, always had chickens, so we never bought eggs. So when the eggs decreased a lot or went up, I never knew until I, started paying attention to like inflation and politics. I never knew what it was because we always had chickens, we always had eggs. But we did do the test a long time ago with my grandma about seeing the color of it, and I don't remember if we cooked it up and tasted it or not. I do remember looking at the color, big difference in the color. And everyone that's ever had my eggs around here, when my granddad gave them away, because we had one time about 40 chickens, everyone said they was the best eggs. Depending on what you feed them, again, the more they are out, the free range, the better. It's just the way it is. And my thing is, if you keep your chickens in, not necessarily will the eggs quality go down, but the chicken's health could go down, so the egg production will go down. And you just have to think, even if the cage chickens are not being fed bad chemicals or antibiotics and stuff, you have to think they're in the cage with all that dust. They have to have something wrong with their lungs, asthma, some type of inflation with their lungs. So I just like bronchitis and stuff, and that you would think if they have that could carry on to something else that could ruin the eggs. So that is that. The biggest thing is when you have older chickens, especially after about 4 months or so. So about 12 weeks, the chickens actually start looking like chickens. The biggest thing is you can feed them really whatever, vegetables, anything. You can cook them up something if you want to. Any scrap foods that you have. If you have a garden, you can do that. Specifically grow a garden for them if you want to. Sometimes we have so many tomatoes and stuff, we just throw it directly to the chickens. And the chickens don't mind at all. They love that. And I videotaped a few on this channel and the other channel of the chickens, being happy for me dumpster diving or whatever. I haven't got anything lately from the dumpsters. Someone's been beating me to it, but they love all that lettuce and all them tomatoes, and it's good. They eat all that. It saves you from throwing it out, so it's technically not wasted. And you would think if you fed your chickens a shitload of tomatoes, it's going to eventually go into the eggs, and the eggs are going to have better nutrients. That's the way I think about it. So anyway, I'm put some pictures at the end of this video. Hopefully this basic stuff helps. I don't think I wrote a few things down. I don't think I missed anything. If you have any questions, put it down. One thing is all chickens can be for meat. So any chickens you buy, you can use them if you ever want to. After about 6 months, you can use them for meat production. It doesn't matter if you choose to do that. There's most of the chickens that I have, all the chickens follow me around, but most of the chickens are really friendly. And if I really, really had to do it, I could. I wouldn't want to because they're, my buddies, but other than that, you can do it. So if you get in Rhode Island Reds and you feel one day that you need to kill one because you're hungry because of the government or whatever, or because of the supply chain, you can do it. Just the biggest thing is don't go out and buy 100 chickens when you're not ready for it. Buy a few, get used to it, and buy a few more, whenever you need to. So hopefully this helps. I'll put some pictures at the end. Put questions down below if you have any questions. I will see you guys later.